Hell yeah, I dig it.
The thing that I love about that is just how simple of a song it is. Going back to our discussion about like the seeming simplicity of like pop music that we were talking about earlier, is it's got this very simple structure to it that just the way that it's written with instruments coming in and out, and then especially the counterpoint between the lyrics of the first verse with the "Who's Laughing Now" chorus at the very end is just so good, and it gives it such a good feeling of progression while still being a fairly simple tune.
Right, it's got that build up to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really dig that, man. Like, it doesn't always have to be complicated for it to be really good, you know? Like, sometimes the simplest songs are the best ones.
Exactly.
And that's why I try to like help the artists that help the artists that I work with.
Go ahead.
To not overcomplicate things when they're trying to write, because then that can just like slow things down and ultimately like hurt the creative flow if you're like focusing too much on something that's really minute to the overall like listening experience. Like, you got to put yourself in the listener's spot, so to speak, and like take yourself away from it, which is hard to do, especially when you're really invested in a project.
That's one of the things that I have to force myself and some of the people that I work with to think about, is you get obsessed with these, like you said, these small details. And I think about it in terms of, if I'm the only person who's going to notice it, then it's good enough.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you got to know when to be like, okay, it's good enough.
It's like, I'm adjusting it by half a decibel. I don't think that really matters.
Oh my God, I love that meme that's like, hey, what are you doing? Still adjusting, you know, the guitar to be half a dB difference or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, or the one, I think it's like, spends all weekend mixing. The song now sounds worse than before.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just, you gotta keep it simple, stupid.
And sometimes, like, if you know what to do, you can make a song better with like a couple EQ and balancing decisions.
Exactly.
And I know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a little bit more about this song in particular, though. Like, I also just really love, particularly in the first verse, some of the lyrics that are like, you know, advice that you get when you're young, that is just, you know, so outdated from society. It's like, you know, adults and your parents and stuff like that, older people in your life give you this advice that's just, it doesn't even really have any correlation in the real world. Like, I think the lyric is, my father always said I'd need to learn to drive a stick shift, but every van I ever had was an automatic. It's just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Small little things like that. I just love the inclusion of that, because I feel like it rings so true with younger people like us, just some of the advice that we were given sometimes, that it's like, yeah, but it doesn't really matter anymore. Like, that's an outdated philosophy, or, you know, outdated whatever. There's
one in particular that comes to mind where the teachers told us that we would never have calculators in our pockets.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that one particularly, or like any of the stuff where it's like a high school teacher would be like, that's not going to fly in college. It's like a lot of the college experiences that I had were like some of the most fast and loose stuff ever.
Yep. I think it also helps that like people were really, at least from what I experienced, we were in a different program, you know, like we weren't in the main engineering departments, but like for us, for me personally, it felt pretty laid back for the most part. I mean, as long as you did your work and everything, like you had a lot of leeway for things.
Exactly. There was something that you were going to say. I don't know if you lost it or not.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
All right. Well, either we'll remember later and we'll come back to it, or we won't.
Yep. Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep.
But until then, I have the next song ready, and it is...
All right, perfect.
It's called Tie Me Down by Dreamhouse, and think they're from Wisconsin, and they actually played up in the UP. And I missed the show, unfortunately, but I was like, man, these guys are really good. And their main singer, they're just so good. Like, once you hear the dynamics that they're able to pull off for this song, I think you'll be really impressed and you'll really enjoy it. So here is Tie Me Down by Dreamhouse.